Hello guys! In this video I will try my best and answer the most frequently asked questions I got about Keimyung University, studying in Daegu or living in Daegu and living in South Korea in general. So let's jump right in. So one of the questions I got asked the most is, would you recommend going for the summer, which is the spring semester, or the fall semester? I personally went for the fall semester, but I didn't choose it by weather, but it just worked out the best, time-wise, with my classes and stuff. So I didn't really choose like spring or fall semester, I could go that semester, so I went. Daegu does get really hot during the summer, but even in the fall semester starts in September, so you're probably gonna arrive end of August and it's still very hot. It was over 30 degrees Celsius still. By the end of the semester, I'm in Seoul right now and Seoul is a lot colder. Last week, the end of January, it was like minus 19 degrees here, so by the end of the semester in Daegu, I would say the semester ends before Christmas. That's where you have your finals, the week before Christmas, and it was around 0 degrees by the end of the semester. So if you go for the fall semester, you have quite a variety of temperatures. You have 3 seasons basically that you go through. You have summer, which is quite hot, then autumn and winter. The spring semester starts in March and ends by the end of June. I'd say the hottest month in Daegu are July and August, and that's when you have summer vacation. You can't really avoid the heat completely because you have some hot months or weeks in both semesters, but I'd say it's hot longer during the spring semester, but also you won't have to pack as many heavy clothes. So it's a lot less luggage that you have to carry. But if you're not good with cold weather, maybe you should go for the spring semester. If you want to avoid the heat as much as you can, go for the fall semester. Another question I got was about the air pollution. I don't think there's a lot of pollution in the air. There's a lot of mountains around Daegu and the campus is quite green, so the air is not bad, I'd say. Downtown or on like bigger streets, sometimes at night it does smell a little weird. There is some weird smell coming from those manhole covers. That's about it. I don't think there's really bad air. Since I am in Seoul, there was like 2 or 3 days there was an alert for like microdust, so that the air wasn't very clear, but that was like 1 or 2 days in the beginning of this year. That's about it. Since I published the video about the rules of the dormitory on campus, a lot of people ask me if it's possible to rent your own place and if it's hard to find it. It's definitely not hard to find a place. Somebody told me that before I came, just I didn't know anyone really and I wasn't sure what it meant. If somebody tells you it's easy to find a place, I'd say quite easy to find a place, but you need someone who speaks Korean. But there's this buddy program. Probably you will have a buddy, maybe they will even pick you up from the station or something like that. The boyfriend of my buddy, because my buddy wasn't available, picked me up from the station when I arrived. I'm sure they can help you find an apartment. It's not about finding it so much, but also about signing the contract. It's good to have someone that speaks Korean. Rent obviously always depends on location and the size of the apartment. I found the area around campus is not really downtown, so it's not that expensive. There were apartments from 350,000 to 450,000 won if you look for a cheaper one or a smaller one. And a friend of mine has one for 500,000 per month, but he's sharing it with a friend, so if you share the cost, that's perfect. Then they only pay 250,000 per month. That's quite a good price for Daegu. But you also have to keep in mind, a lot of people want you to pay the rent in cash, and there is a deposit that you have to pay, which is about 4 to 6 months rent, so you have to pay that in advance, and that's quite a lot of cash if you have to pay it in cash. Some people are also okay with bank transfer, but for the dormitory, for example, you have to pay it in cash. I really had the suspicion that we have to pay in cash just because often in Japan I also had to pay my rent in cash and stuff like that, so I kind of just thought so, and everyone was like, no, I'm sure we can do bank transfer, like international bank transfer. Nobody believed me, but yes, you have to pay it in cash. So if you have a credit card that's like mine, that has a monthly max that you can withdraw, you should consider that before and withdraw some portions. I have 2 credit cards, so it kind of worked out, but that's a lot of cash that you need. But yeah, it's quite easy to find an apartment. There's a lot of empty rooms around the area of the campus. It's absolutely no problem for short term, like 1 semester or 6 months, which surprised me because that would be the main problem in Germany or in Europe in general. It's not easy to find an apartment for such short term unless it's like a Airbnb or like a flat share. Here it's possible, it's quite possible. If you decide to find a place on your own, there's just a few things that you have to consider. For example, you need to buy specific trash bags for like food waste, or recyclables are still different, but there's different rules for trash and recycling in different cities, and you have to buy specific bags at the convenience store and put them in specific places depending on the area that you live in. Also, if you live in the dormitories, you never have to buy water because there's water purifiers everywhere that give you cold room temperature or hot water, so you don't have to think about buying water, carrying it upstairs if you don't have an elevator, and not the cost. Obviously, there's no additional cost for water. As for groceries, I think it's a little hard to say if they're more expensive or cheaper or more affordable than in Europe or somewhere else, because it really depends on the product. Obviously, something like cheese is more expensive here. Eggs, I found, are more expensive, strangely, but then other stuff like local vegetables and things like that are definitely cheaper. So it really depends. And if you go out for eating, like a lot of Koreans that have been to Germany tell me, yeah, it's more expensive here, but I have the feeling that it's not really that different, or some things are more expensive in Germany, because if you know where to go, you can eat out quite cheap here. On campus, there's different cafeterias, and the meals are usually about 3,000 to 4,000, max 6,000 per meal. But even if you go out somewhere to eat at a restaurant, at a local restaurant, again, it depends where you go to, but like if you eat out at a market, you can, and you share food. Sharing is obviously always cheaper, but some things only cost like 6,000, and you can even sometimes find a proper meal for 4,001, which is not that expensive, I think. Then there's other things like padon, always usually costs around 10,000 or 11,000. I think while I was living in the dormitory, I definitely spent more money on food compared to what I would have spent in Germany, but that's because I couldn't cook. I mean, I had breakfast and dinner at the cafeteria of the dormitory, where you can pay a set price for it to have meals for the whole semester. But that gets boring sometimes, or sometimes you want to eat out with your friends, so you go out for dinner anyway. And because you don't really have a kitchen, we have a microwave on the floor. That's it. You can't cook for yourself. You have to buy a lot of things that are already packaged meals or stuff like that. And I think if you eat those for like 4 months, it definitely is more expensive than cooking for yourself. So yeah, I feel I spent more money while I was living in the dormitory. Now, since I came to Seoul, I don't think I spent that much money on food. Another question I got was, do expats speak with Koreans if you speak some Korean, or do you hang out with foreigners only? I would say this strongly depends on you and on your classes, and if you live in a dormitory or not, and which dormitory you live in. I lived in the International Female Hall. International doesn't mean that there's only internationals. I think it had 10 stories, the building, and most of the students living there were Koreans, obviously. But what they did was they put all the international students in one floor. So our floor we lived on was all international students. There was no Korean girl anywhere. So the only time you see Korean girls is when they come use the microwave, which is on our floor, or the fridge, or when you study together in the common room or something. But sometimes it didn't really feel like you're in Korea. Also, they put like German people together in one room, French people together in one room, so you really speak your own language most of the time. Then I know some girls who lived in the cheaper female dormitory. I don't know she had a Korean roommate, so she got a lot more, time to interact with someone Korean if she wants to. But yeah, it depends on you. I didn't want to have to go out of my room to use the bathroom in the middle of the night for 4 months. So I wanted to live in the dormitory with the bathroom in your room, and the cheaper one, where you're probably gonna see more Korean people, but you have to share bathroom and shower room with the whole floor. And it also depends on the classes. I had most of my classes like Korean language and Korean culture, obviously there's not gonna be Korean people in it. And I had modeling 3D assets, and apart from me, everyone in that class was French. I was the only non-French person. C++ programming, again, a lot of French people, but some Korean. I think 4 Koreans were in there. And then I had a class taught completely in Korean. Obviously, I was the only foreigner, and yeah. A lot of computer science majors come from France, the foreign students. And that's why a lot of classes in that field have a lot of French people. But there's also some classes that I didn't take that have more Korean people in them. Especially a lot of the German students had business classes or have their major in business administration, and they have a lot of Korean people in their classes, although they're English taught, and they even had group work with Korean people, so they interacted quite a lot with them. Then if you choose to practice Korean, or some people had no interest in learning Korean at all, but if you really want to try speak Korean and interact with those people, then you can. So it's really up to you. I made some friends in the Korean taught class, which was Postproduction. It was a little hard in the beginning because they didn't speak English well, I didn't speak Korean well, but I think we both sides had a good experience. I think they could improve their English somewhat, and I had more practice in Korean or got to hear more Korean. The professor was really hard to understand because he spoke very quickly, but when he was teaching and when I asked him something, it was okay, but yeah. And also he spoke English quite well. He didn't speak English a lot to me just in the end of the semester when he explained something about my grades. Which leads me to the next question I got. Did you survive the Korean taught class? Yes, I did. I got an A+ in the end. It wasn't easy. It was post-production, so it's more of a visual kind of class, I'd say. It's not something like business or math where you have to understand a lot of the words, and the program we used was in English. Actually, I think from the menu and the tools we were using, it was easier for me than for some of the Koreans who didn't speak English well. When he explained, I didn't understand a lot, but he was showing everything he explained about on the canvas, so it made it easier to understand if you have the visual as well. And he just showed things, how he did it, and then you try it yourself. So it is possible if it's something that is more design or visual oriented. I think it's possible. There was one assignment where we had to edit Korean news, and I had to write some things that one Korean woman that was interviewed said. I had to summarize that, and I didn't understand anything. So that was a little hard, but I got Korean friends to help me with that, so that's fine. And the midterm was a little hard because I didn't understand all the questions. Again, some were visual, but then some files just had an explanation of what we should do, and I didn't understand that. So that was a little hard, and trying to understand and putting it into Papago to translate, that took more time, so I didn't finish everything in the end. But I think I still did quite good on what I did, so I got a good grade. And a lot of people didn't finish everything. So then instead of a final exam, we had a final project, which was to cut a trailer. You could choose the movie, so that was doable too. I didn't choose a Korean movie, I chose a movie in English. What was a little hard is sometimes I didn't really understand the assignments right away, so I didn't know what I had to do right away. And sometimes as I was doing it, when I was almost done, or I thought I was done with what I was doing, I finally understood what I actually had to do. So that was a little hard. But did I survive it? Yes, I survived it. Everyone helped me really kindly. The girls sitting next to me were really friendly and helped me all the time. And I could help them too because I was a little more advanced in Adobe Premiere Pro, so I could help them with the tools, explaining the tools, and they could help me with understanding what I actually had to do. So I think it's possible if it's something more visual and design oriented. Then a lot of people ask me which classes I took. I think I already said that. I had the Korean language practice class. I was in level 3. Then Introduction to Korean Culture, Post-Production in Korean, C++ programming in English, 3D modeling assets in English. How close was downtown near campus? If you take the underground line, it's 20 minutes. It depends if you go from Gangchang, which is closer to the campus, or if you live somewhere close to Keimyung station, to Pangaldang. It takes 20 minutes, I'd say. It's about 10 or 11 stops, depending on where you start. Then good places to shop for clothes. This again really depends on you. Some people prefer to buy their clothes at brands that we also have in other places in the world, like Zara or H&M, Uniqlo and stuff like that. If you're already in that area, like Pangaldang, Junggangno area, like basically between Daegu station and Pangaldang station, the whole street, you have a lot of cinemas, cosmetics, phone shops, a lot, and food stores as well. If you stay on the main street where all the brands are, like H&M and Zara and stuff like that, it's not gonna be as affordable. Obviously they have sales too, but the upside is you can try things on. If you want more of a Korean street shopping experience, just go to the side streets and search around there. There's a lot of really tiny stores where you can't try the things on unless it's like a jacket or something. They will let you try it on. And a lot of things are one-sized. The pants have different sizes and some of the jackets have too. This one was free size though. Like tops, sweaters, blouses, a lot of them are free size, but they're really affordable. Like a normal t-shirt or long sleeve shirt, about 5,000 won. Sweaters, blouses, stuff like that, 10,000 won. The pair of jeans I bought were both like 14,000 won. And the pants, you can try them on at home, and if the size doesn't fit you, you can exchange the size. Just you can't give anything back. The prices are all in cash. If you pay by credit card, it's gonna be a little more, I think. Yeah, I think the shopping was amazing. There's so many affordable but really stylish clothes, and I loved it. And there's always party music playing everywhere, so you get really hyped shopping. And even there's a lot of underground malls, so sometimes you don't even have to leave the underground station. A lot of the items I bought in underground malls. This one too. I bought this one in Seoul, and these two accessories. For affordable shoes, I would say my favorite shop was Shoepen. A lot of these smaller stores, some of the items I have are exactly the same in different stores, but they will have the same price too. So I think they probably have the same suppliers, but they just buy different items. My favorite stores, I would say, are called Awesome and Winner. Just the names are funny, and that's the shops I went to most often, I'd say. But again, a lot of the stores have similar items. You can find a lot there. I'm not that tall, and usually in Europe, most of the pants are too long for me. Here it's just perfect because the length fits me perfectly. So if you're a little shorter, or if you're normal size, really not model tall, then this is good for you. Then I also got some questions about how well I improved my Korean. I'd say I improved more after the semester ended, mainly because I had more time to sit down and study. Mainly because I think I wasn't that exposed to Korean all the time on campus. As I mentioned, my roommate was German too. The whole floor was international, and most of my classes didn't have that many Koreans. But yeah, I think maybe I could have tried harder to get exposed more to Korean, but since I moved to Seoul, I also watched Korean TV series and stuff like that, and you hear more. I had to handle a lot of things. I was forced to speak Korean more because a lot of people don't speak English, and you have to try and figure out how to communicate. So yeah, I think I improved more since the semester ended. I definitely improved most when I was studying for my midterm and final in Korean language practice. Mostly, I think writing and texting was quite easy for me earlier too, but I never really had so much practice in speaking or listening. Yeah, also it's a little harder in Daegu because of the accent, Satori. Sometimes I just don't understand people, and I think in Seoul it's easier to understand, but you will get used to that too. It's not really an excuse, it's just, yeah, it might make it a little harder. So I am able to communicate in Korean more than other people, I think, but also, I mean, I tried really hard to get on the level 3 course. I didn't want to be in the beginner course. I didn't know I was gonna end up in the level 3 course. But in the beginning, it was really hard for me because I didn't really know that much. But then at some point, I managed to pick like catch up, but because I was trying really hard to catch up, and yeah, then I improved quite a lot, I think. So again, this I know it's annoying to hear, but it really depends on you what you make out of it. If you sit down and study Korean, like I sat down every day when we had Korean language practice, we had the class for almost 3 hours a day, and then maybe I did some homework after that class. But even on the other days I didn't have the class, I sat down for 1 or 2 hours and studied some Korean and practiced things. So yeah, it depends on you. If you don't do all of that, you're not going to improve much. So that's it for this video. I hope you found some answers to questions that you had. If you still have some more questions that I didn't answer, write a comment and I can answer them there, or if it's a lot of questions, if I get a lot more questions, I can do another video. So just let me know. Anyway, I hope you found this helpful. I hope you're having a great day and see you in the next one. Bye bye. Thanks for watching.